Hey there, today we are going to talk about adding positive and negative numbers. Adding positive and negative numbers can be a bit tricky, but it's not that hard once you get the hang of it. So let's get started with some important points to remember while adding positive and negative numbers. If the signs of the numbers we are adding are the same, we add the numbers and keep the sign. If the signs of the numbers we are adding are different, we subtract the absolute values of each of these two numbers. Whichever number has the greater absolute value will determine the sign of the answer. For subtraction, we change the subtraction problem to an addition problem by using the additive inverse or opposite. We'll now solve some examples to understand these rules in detail. Let's start with the first example of addition. We have negative 10 plus 4. Now we know that the signs of these numbers are different. As per the rule number 2 of addition, we subtract the absolute values of each of these two numbers. Absolute value of negative 10 would be 10 and the absolute value of 4 would be 4. Now since the signs are different, we subtract the bigger absolute value from the smaller absolute value. Subtracting 4 from 10 gives us 6. And since the number with the greater absolute value is 10, which is negative, the answer would be negative 6. Remember that we keep the sign of the number with the greater absolute value. Let's now move on to the next example. Here we have negative 35 plus 100. Again, the signs of the numbers are different, so we subtract the absolute value of each of these two numbers. The absolute value of 100 would be 100. And the absolute value of negative 35 would be 35. Now we subtract 35 from 100, which gives us 65. Since the number with the greater absolute value is 100, which is positive, the answer would be 65. This is how we add positive and negative numbers. Now let's take a look at some subtraction examples. Here we have 5 negative 4. Since this is a subtraction problem, we change it to an addition problem by using the additive inverse or opposite. So if we take the additive inverse of the second number, the opposite of 4 would be negative 4. Next, this problem can be written as 5 plus negative 4. And now we can add two numbers using the rules of addition that we have just learned. Using these rules, we get 1 as the answer. Let's see one more example of subtraction. Here we have 7 negative 10. Again, we change this to an addition problem by using the additive inverse or opposite. So the opposite of 10 would be negative 10. So we can write this problem as 7 plus negative 10. After adding using the rules of addition, we get negative 3 as the answer. Note that we keep the sign of the number with the greater absolute value. So I hope it starts to make sense now. Let's apply this knowledge to solve some real-world problems. The temperature in Seattle was negative 8 degrees Fahrenheit in the morning. By noon, it had risen by 22 degrees Fahrenheit. What was the temperature at noon? Now, just by looking at this problem, can we tell if it's an addition or subtraction problem? Well, to determine this, we can analyze the wording. The problem says that the temperature in Seattle was negative 8 degrees Fahrenheit in the morning. But then it says by noon it had risen by 22 degrees Fahrenheit. The key phrase here is it had risen by. This indicates an increase in temperature, suggesting that this is an addition problem. Now let's break it down into some mathematical parts. We can consider morning temperature as initial temperature, which is negative 8 degrees Fahrenheit. And we can consider change in temperature as the temperature change, which is 22 degrees Fahrenheit. To calculate the final temperature, we add the initial temperature and the change in temperature. We add negative 8 and 22. To do this, we follow the rules of addition that we have just learned. The absolute value of negative 8 would be 8. And the absolute value of 22 would be 22. We subtract 8 from 22, and since the number with the greater absolute value is 22, which is positive, the answer would be 14. So the temperature at noon was 14 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's take a look at one more word problem to seal the deal. A bird is flying 42 meters above the sea level. A fish is swimming 12 meters below the sea level. How many meters are the bird and the fish apart? Again, let's analyze the wording to determine if it is an addition or subtraction problem. Now we are asked to find out how many meters are the bird and fish apart. This means we need to find the difference between these two creatures. The problem says that a bird is flying 42 meters above the sea level and a fish is swimming 12 meters below the sea level. Normally, sea level is considered as the reference point for measuring heights and depths. So any height above sea level is considered positive because it is in the upward direction from the reference point. Similarly, any depth below the sea level is considered negative because it is in the downward direction from the reference point. Now we can say that the bird height is 42 meters above sea level, which is positive 42 meters. And the fish height is 12 meters below the sea level, which is negative 12 meters. So the final equation we have is 42 negative 12. Now it's your turn to solve this problem. As a hint, you will use the rules of additive inverse to change the subtraction problem to an addition problem. Pause the video and try to solve this problem. Feel free to go back and review the rules of the addition and subtraction if you need to. So let me know how it worked for you in the comments below. So that wraps it up. I hope you learned something new. I will catch you in the next one. Till then, keep learning and take care.